Match day 4 was winner take all, and by all, I mean those 3 points. Points, baby, points. Haha! Welcome to All Talk, All USL, Talk USL, covering all the latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division of the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. I hope everyone had a nice Easter weekend. By the way, happy Easter Monday, April 1st. While I'm recording this, I don't have any work today, so I'm focusing all on the podcast, which is absolutely excellent. Hey, winner take all. I'm talking about no sharing the points, no kissing the sister, any of those, sayings that you have for your ties. Not going to apply here for match day 4. We had clear winners and we had clear losers. So much to get into. We'll run it down. The match day spotlight this week for match day 4 is going to be a Western Conference tie. We'll get into Orange County hosting FC Tulsa. Recap a little bit what the goal of the week was for match day 3, by the way. And then always the rundown of the fixtures. And then we'll preview what's ahead in match day 5. So, starting first, by the way, congrats to Miami FC's Gavilanes for his near-post finish against Orange County Soccer Club last week in the 2-2 draw. That earned him the goal of the week for match day 3. I also mentioned that I wanted to cover just a tiny bit of Monterey Bay versus Rhode Island FC from last week, considering that it was one of the later fixtures and I didn't have the chance to cover it on my time zone. But in any case, it ended 2-2 there. Dikwa getting the first goal in RIFC history. He would then add another to his name, getting 2 double goals there for that draw against Monterey Bay. We'll cover more of Rhode Island and Monterey as we break down the fixtures. But in any case, the spotlight fixture, the main attention for this one, decided to go with Orange County Soccer Club taking on FC Tulsa. Haven't been covering a lot of the Western Conference as of recent. My first opening 3 spotlights, so happy to get into this one. And I always like to take a look what USL Championship had said about who to watch out for, albeit the 11 defenders to watch out for, other midfielders, forwards, new joiners, as well as newcomers. In any case, those that were mentioned for Orange County Soccer Club, all of them were on the bench here to start the game. I'm talking, that was Kyle Scott, Ethan Zubak, and Bryce Jamison. So those 3 that they shouted out in those 5 articles pre-season, they were all on the bench here for Orange County FC. However, for FC Tulsa, they had shout out Alexis Suahi, as well as Justin Portillo and Arthur Rogers. So happy to get into those, and then the rest we'll cover as they actually sub on during the course of the game with Orange County hosting FC Tulsa. But in any case, here's an interesting one. Player to watch defender, Alexis Suahi. 2 defenders to watch for FC Tulsa, Suahi being one of them, Rogers being the other. For Suahi, he was actually awarded with USL League One All-League honors in 2023 for Union Omaha. And it looked like he was gearing up for the second campaign with Los Bujos. But then in January, after FC Tulsa appointed Mario Sanchez as its new head coach, that plan changed as the Oklahoma side came calling for the center back and acquired him via transfer late in the month. So that connection to Suahi and Sanchez goes back to their respective time at Louisville City FC, where Comoros International Suahi spent 4 seasons and actually won the 2018 USL Championship title. Last season, the 29-year-old was solid in his all-around play for Los Bujos, winning 121 duels at a 61.4% success rate and 70 aerial duels at a 62.5% success rate. So as he returns to the championship this season, he'll be looking to be a key figure for Tulsa as they try to reach the postseason in its return to the Western Conference. Reminder, Tulsa being on the Western Conference side of things this year. For Arthur Rogers, though, from England, he's a new joiner, but it won't be his first in the USL Championship. He featured for Hartford in the 2020 and 2021 seasons, but the fullback arrives here at FC Tulsa as a player with a transformed reputation after 2 seasons with Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC in USL League One, coming off back-to-back Defender of the Year awards. Say nothing of 20 assists, by the way, in 64 appearances, 27 years old now, going to be a key role for this side, and we definitely saw it in this game. We'll touch upon his performance, but don't make this like it's all about Rogers' qualities in the final third either. USLChampionship.com is going on to talk about him, saying that he's a solid defender for Hailstorm, making 201 recoveries, 27 interceptions last season, as well as solid numbers in tackles, 42 with a 61.8% success rate, and plenty of duels to that as well, 177 with 55.8% success rate. And he can deliver some quality service for the likes of Philip Goodrum in particular. So a signing worth watching for FC Tulsa fans, being Defender of the Year for 22-23. Good accolades for the defense there for FC Tulsa. The other one was Justin Portillo, who's a midfielder player to watch. He had played quite a bunch into the USL Championship. It's been a decade since he's been with the Charleston Battery. He's a veteran center midfielder. He continues to be a valuable presence with his ability to link the play and create chances, especially that being from set pieces. And that's why that FC Tulsa brought the 31-year-old aboard after 2 seasons at New Mexico United, as it sought to break a 2-year absence from the USL Championship playoffs. So his influence in New Mexico was notable. A season ago, he comfortably led the side with 56 chances created and produced 5 goals and 5 assists there. So again, Philip Goodrum leading the attacking line. Portillo is a player that can provide plenty of opportunity for one of the league's best finishers. That was Justin Portillo. This all from USLChampionship.com, by the way. Those articles are on the website. However, Philip Goodrum, nowhere to be found, unfortunately, for FC Tulsa in this one. I was very disappointed because he was warming up, but he's apparently had a pre-game knock for Philip Goodrum. And, I mean, he had 13 goals in 22 appearances for Tulsa. Obviously, one of the biggest focal points of their attack. So I was bit disappointed as a neutral, the fact that he had to bow out during the warm-ups. He was in the lineup that they submitted in the pregame when the commentators were talking about it. Mike Watts and color commentator Gary Bailey, who was a former Manchester United goalkeeper that was on the call for this game. They were also disappointed to not see him appear for FC Tulsa, so giving a nice significant leg up for Orange County prior to then even kicking the first kickoff of the game. But Gary Bailey was on color. I really enjoyed both Mike Watson and Gary Bailey, that being Peter Schmeichel, by the way, said on a BBC Match of the Day 3 years ago that Bailey was his favorite keeper of all time and that he idolized him as a youngster growing up in Denmark. I don't really know too much about Gary Bailey, a little bit past my time, but I do definitely know Peter Schmeichel. And the fact that he's saying that Bailey was one of his idols, really cool to hear him on the call when I was watching this game on YouTube. The pre-match about this, by the way, so the only side to have appeared just once so far this season, that was FC Tulsa. So they had the most drawn-out opening to the campaign. So they could match the sides two, have taken 2 wins from 2 as it heads to face Orange County. That would be this time around. But here's the interesting point. Prior to this game, again, Tulsa only won. That was the 3-1 victory against Las Vegas. For Orange County, instead, it was 3 games played with 1 win, being 2-0 against Pittsburgh, and then 2 draws, 2-2 draws, 2-2, 2-2. We can keep going. That was with Sacramento and Miami, respectively. And if you recall, I mean, you talk about opening weekend, or really Shuttler's last-minute goal against Sacramento. If you haven't checked it out already, it was everywhere when he equalized that to save the point for them. So that was a little bit in terms of the pre-match. OCSC going out with a 4-4-2 in attacking, and then transitioning to a 4-1-4-1. And defense, Tulsa, meanwhile, really a 4-2-3-1. Or a 3-4-3. It was more looking like a 4-2-3-1 though as the game went on, and that probably was because Goodrum wasn't able to feature for them. Hey man, Championship Soccer Stadium in Orange County. Very cozy environment. So you had small stands across the skybox, and then on the corner on the left side they had small hills with bushes. On the right side there was an ambulance for those small things. Then you had on the left camera side, you had the small stands with County Line Coalition, the Orange County Ultras, starting the game off, obviously singing the famous Take Me Home County Road song. They were on the left side, and then on the right side, you had the giant scoreboard towering over the field next to that ambulance that I was talking about. And then also some nice level grass field railings of kind of people walking. And then behind the scoreboard, behind that hill, you had tents full of people as well. The camera was nice. It was a nice low camera, like mid-range, similar to Luton, if you've watched Luton this year in their Premier League. Ironically, no benches for either team, but instead just some useful folding chairs. But in any case, folding chairs are alright. They couldn't get comfortable because the training staff was on the field for so many moments throughout the course of this game. Obviously, we'll get into that and some of those unique moments too. So starting this game off first half, field looks great. Looks like nice conditions, even though a little bit chilly, but all good. In the second minute, Creek for Tulsa made a nice save. Jafal on target for the first shot of the match, the opening shot for OC, also the first corner of the match. And then in the fourth minute, as I said, these training staffs kept going on and on the field. And Joseph, he went down on injury for Tulsa. So that was their first instance of coming on. So a little bit of stop and go to start out. Both teams were trading off possessions and keeping the ball on the ground. The grass looked really nice. So I don't blame them at all for keeping the ball on the ground. No precipitation either. And then in the 6th minute, we had sundown. And there were 2 players observing Ramadan. So it was quite interesting to see. So they've been fasting. That was Jeffal for Orange County. And then number 6 for Tulsa, Diallo. Both taking a knee and getting some nutrients, a banana, some juice, whatever. But it was nice to see them share a handshake afterwards. And kudos to anyone also fasting for Ramadan. I hope that's going well. But pretty cool to see that they allow the stoppages for there. And the 8th minute, right back, the Rogers for Tulsa. We talked about him in terms of, USL Championship.com pointed him out. I liked him. He had the bun going. He had the high little white socks over the black socks. You could tell he gives taped up ankles. I don't know if it was taped up ankles or double sock, but he's very meticulous about his appearance, especially when he's also on the ball. He loves the cut back. He loves teasing. His studs are always on it. So already striking me, even in an away environment. 27-year-old experienced defender of the year, back-to-back years for USL League One. Very comfortable on the ball, and every time you can see already, it was quite evident that he wasn't losing it for the most part. But he loved the cutback and the teasing, and I enjoyed watching him for that. Deep line for Orange County, by the way. Didn't seem like they were concerned with pressing in the opening 10 minutes, but rather just holding that shape. You had for them that 4-1-4-1, as I mentioned. So Partida was holding that kind of lone defensive midfield. Then like 2 banks of 4, he was sitting in between. And they were just fine with letting Tulsa have it. In the 13th minute, he had a knock to the head for Among, a head-to-jaw collision. So already 3 stoppages within the opening 15 minutes. Ramadan and then 2 injuries a little bit as well. So very hard. It was just like, okay, stop. All right, here we go. And we'll stop again. And in the 18th minute, there was a sub for Tulsa because of an injury. It was Bourgeois subbing on for number 12, Teta. And then when he came on, it was hard for me to see who was coming on for what because the graphic just had first name, last name. I guess the person in the production just forgot to input the names. I hope none of this happens, by the way, next week when we go to CBS, USL, with Louisville taking on Indy 11. I really hope it's quite pristine in terms of little graphics and things of that nature that just helps with the presentation. In the 20th minute, Orange County, Dunbar, taking some nice space, this midfielder. He throws in a nice half scissor. He goes to his left, then right, and then tries to bend it right. Second shot of the game so far in 20 minutes. Both shots going to Orange County. Tulsa, you can see what they were trying to do. Obviously not having Goodrum was a blow, but they were pressing quite high, and they were trying to win some 50-50s. And if not, they'd just opt for the foul. And that's kind of how things were going. So you want to talk about stoppages early, injuries and whatnot, but also quite a bit of fouls from Tulsa seeming to disrupt the flow that Orange County can generate. And in the 22nd minute, the third shot of the game, this came for Ashish Chata for OC, showing some solid awareness, number 15, and no one was closing him down at the top of the box, and so he had a shot from 20 meters out that just sailed over the crossbar. Also was part of the Juventus Sport Club under 15 and 16. So a bit of a warning sign, and he was taking probably 4 or 5 touches close on his right before getting the shot off. No one seemed interested in closing him down at the top of the box, but rather just holding the line. And then OC was generating some momentum. 3 shots in the opening 20. They started this nice one-touch passing on the right side, just generating a feel for the game. And in the 26th minute, we would have the goal of the game, and that being the only goal of the game from Jeff Fall. He was observing the fasting for Ramadan, but this time he absorbs a nice ball, splits 2 defenders at the top of the box with ease. It was so nice. Takes it on his right. He had a player on his left and right, and just kind of turned clockwise, split them wonderfully. Gets in on his right. He's able to take a couple of touches to get to the top of the D, and he bends it to the right creek. The Tulsa goalkeeper got a hand on it, but wasn't enough, and it was 1-0 for Tulsa. The Frenchman, former Austin FC player, celebrating nicely in front of the corner. And hey, Tulsa, if you're not closing down at the top of the box with a shot from Chita before, and now with Javal, it's a warning sign. And they were able to take advantage of it quite nicely, getting that opening goal. Possibly, if I'm not mistaken, I'm already predicting it now, could be solid goal of the week contender for match day 4. That was really the opening 30 minutes. So then in the 30th minute, we had the first yellow of the game when Amang turned Portillo quite nicely, and then Portillo chopped him down like a tree. So after the first yellow of the game, 32nd minute, Asensio, left back for OC, whips a nice ball into the box. It drops and bounces in the 6. Tulsa defender gets a header onto it, bounces back at him off of an OC knee, and then OC gets a shot off, but lasered over the bar. So crosses coming in, shots from outside of the box for OC, and Tulsa really had nothing going for them. They did not really look threatening at all. A bit worried going into this, being the first 35 minutes. Obviously a blow not to have Goodrum, and it was showing. But in the 34th minute, just shortly after this chance from the Asensio cross, Tulsa got their first shot of the game. However, it was blocked. They put in a nice cross, but Shuttler came off his line quite nicely. And that wasn't the first time he came off his line all game. We'll get more into that. 35th minute, Diallo gets the second yellow of the game for Tulsa. Not his second yellow, that is, just a yellow. But second yellow for Tulsa after the ball gets played shortly to OC's Asensio, and he's able to come in, just take him from behind, scissoring both of his legs inside. Quite aggressive. In the 37th minute, Stojanovic gets a nice volley that goes wayward. He also played for Philly in MLS Next Pro, 11 goals in 45 appearances. I found out from Mike Watts' calls on the game. So pretty cool to see that. The former Philadelphia Union reserve player. It's all him this game without Goodrum, and he gets his first chance, albeit a volley that kind of goes wayward. But already 2 back-to-back chances, not great chances for Tulsa, but generating something. In the 40th, we have a yellow for Orange County. This time, Diallo, who got their yellow before, was fouled by Chita. And then the 42nd minute, OC, number 19, Partida. He did a great job protecting that back line. I give him a lot of credit. When you play with, he was defending in the 4-1-4-1, but then in transition and the offense kind of just being in that flat 4 or just supporting. Great support player. He anticipates where he needs to be, and he made a great sliding challenge, kind of being one of the last defenders there as the ball kind of made it out to Stojanovic. Stojanovic tries to get the bridge off of him, kicking it around him, but Partida really showed a nice acceleration and made sure to take care of it. And for me, I think he's a prime example of someone who wants to play in a midfield of 4. Defending in 4-1-4-1, but even just a flat 4, great anticipation, and even good positioning, albeit off the ball as well as on the ball. Both teams, though, did well with their ground passes. I don't know if it was the surface, but everything had the right pace. It just seemed like passing with the purpose for both sides. So probably kudos to the ground crew for OC, because that grass just looked like, I don't even want to play the ball in the air. Things look so nice and slick on the ground. In the 46th minute, Dunbar wins the ball, carries it pretty much 40 yards, and Amang opens to the left and launching the counterattack. So Dunbar, he had the nice scissor before, early in the first half. He dizzle-dazzles the defender going left and right, left. And then when he gets it on his left, he just can't pull the trigger. It seemed like he lost balance, or maybe he wasn't comfortable with his left. Amang, being the lone striker there, making the run, he was upset that he didn't get the ball. But Dunbar can take some guys on quite nicely 1v1. However, there just Could have got the shot off with his left. Couldn't, though. And in the 40th minute, we end the first half, of course, with a yellow card. The third of the half for Tulsa from Camilo, kicking the ball away, Camilo. And that was really it for the first half. OC looking the better of the two sides, organized in the low block, generating more shots. Obviously, the biggest one being Jafal's goal midway through. Tulsa without Goodrum, tough. But now they have a first half to go off of. Still only 1-0 into the second half, so maybe they can make something of it. But many stoppages in the first half. Thankfully, we had the nice goal, but 14 total fouls, 11 fouls coming from Tulsa in the opening half, and 4 yellows in total already in that first half too. Head-to-head collisions, Ramadan stoppage we had. Training staff was quite busy for both sides. That was really the first half. Moving on to the second half. This is when things maybe get a little more interesting as we were developed to see who would get the result. But we had a sub coming on for Tulsa to start things off. Alex DeLoe, the Indiana native, coming on there. And as well as a sub for OC, Zubak came on for Asensio. Striker coming on for a side back. So one of the midfielders had tucked in then to play left back. I think it was Chita. But Zubak came on to help partner Among up top. So that was really the substitutes. But in any case, Tulsa wins a free kick pretty much as if it was a corner to start things off in the second half. So they were already trying to get in the front foot. But a couple minutes into it, we had Among the 48th minute, making a really nice cross on the right side of the far post. The ball then gets played across. Dunbar sitting at the 6, and the ball is coming at such a velocity that he just can't generate it towards the goal, or maybe was unprepared to direct it towards the goal, wasn't expecting the ball to come across. He pops it skywards in the opposite direction, and man, oh man, it could have been game, set, match had that went in, because it was looking unlikely that Tulsa was going to score 1 goal, albeit 2 goals. So if that went in, man, would have been a different second half. But in any case, a minute later, Dunbar tried to make amends for wasting that opportunity. He gets the ball on the far right side, far side of the camera. He dilly-dallies the defender, gets it on his right, and makes a nice shot. But Creek does a great job of pushing it over for the corner kick. I was impressed with the goalkeeper for Tulsa, by the way. Both goalkeepers played great in this one, but Creek just had a nice build to him. Love the yellow, all yellow he was wearing for FC Tulsa. Seemed really comfortable back there and everything. I was really what I liked about him was his wherewithal to just parry the ball, strong hands, albeit trying to get it over the bar, just away from pressure. He even got a touch on the nice shot from Jafal in the first half, but it was just parrying with a purpose. Let's say that. We say passing with a purpose, but he's parrying the ball with a purpose on his saves. In the 51st minute, Diallo pushes Among down. He gets another warning from the referee, and Among, I think, knew that he was on his yellow, Diallo, so he was making some quite theatrics about that, screaming in agony. I think it's safe to do it at home, obviously, but probably not the best to do it away, because you probably generate some hostility from the place that you're traveling to. But he's screaming, he's going on a limp, and then ironically, like 10 seconds later, he gets the ball played short to him. He's able to make the pass back, no problem, and then shake it off. It's funny when you see that sometimes. In the 54th, the ball gets played across to Diallo for Tulsa, and he shoots it straight at Shuttler, who pushes it over for a comfortable save, but some nice power on the shot. Best chance for Tulsa so far. And I like Diallo. I really did. I think it was one of the brightest points for FC Tulsa over the course of this game, albeit getting the yellow card, but showing some passion display, defending and attacking. And then a minute later, he breaks through on the left side and gets the better of Lambie, who gets the OC's second yellow of the contest. I think OC, they managed the game well, but Diallo was able to get the better of him on the near side there. So he gets the shot and then gets a nice one-on-one for that. So yeah, this is, again, now we're approaching the hour mark here. And Zubak, Among, they were linking up quite nicely. This one coming from a header, a flick on from Zubak, gets the ball back, plays a nice ball into the running Dunbar, but the header sails to the left of the goal frame. Another good opportunity for OC. And Dunbar just knows where to get into when it comes to anticipating the play forward. And Zubac, I don't know if it was just on its near side, but he looked tall, only 1.83 meters. But certainly seemed like one of the tallest out there. And to put him up top with Among, but more tucked on the wing near side, it paid dividends as the game went on, especially when he wanted terms of managing the game. If you're not able to score, if you can hook the ball up the line, and Zubac's out there just to cause a nuisance, to make it more difficult to get the ball back and regain possession for Tulsa. I can see what he was trying to do in terms of the coach for OC there. 60th minute on the hour mark, Stojanovic makes a great volley. It'll be much better than the volley he had in the first half. Forces a save from Shuttler, leading up to the shot there. In the 64th minute, Tulsa had a nice spell of possession. Found on their right side, they whipped in a nice cross, and it was Owen Lamb from OC who heads it away. And if he didn't do that, there were two Tulsa players waiting there, really going hard into the far post. They went really hard that they actually collided across each other. They collided with each other, two Tulsa players. But good positioning from Owen Lamb there to head it wayward. That being the difficult far post ball that came in. In the 69th minute, a great chance for Tulsa as well. Across on the far side, makes its way again. This time, though, to the trailing left back for Tulsa, Segrist. And he got a touch on the ball, but it bounced back towards him, I should say. So the cross came in and got headed out. And Segrist found a way to get there. And it was teeing up so nicely for a volley, but he decides to have another touch. And then gets kind of swarmed by OC players. And Bailey on color commentary was saying the same thing, the former Manchester United goalkeeper. It was so nice teed up for him to have the shot. But that's sometimes the trickiness that you have when you find yourself in these positions often as a left back, or as a defender in general, right? You start attacking, but you don't have many instances over the course of your 90 minutes, over the course of your season where you get to have a chance to attack. Same thing, compared to a striker who's usually there. They know what to make of these things. They know when to shoot them. It just seems Segrist was unsure here and decided to settle things down and make it more comfortable. Should have definitely had the shot there instead. In the 70th minute sub, St. Clair coming on for Rogers and Tulsa, the Scotland coming on for the English fullback. St. Clair, interestingly enough, was in the Chelsea Academy and spent 5 years on the books for Venezia, according to Mike Watts, who was on play-by-play. He had all the stats and stories, by the way, Mike Watts, on his play-by-play, so cool to hear that. In the 74th minute, Stojanovic, he laid off for Tulsa, a midfielder, and then the midfielder was able to find, I don't know who it was, but they played a nice diagonal ball to Diallo on the left, and then there was the overlap by the left back from Tulsa as well. Tulsa, they were generating some momentum, man, especially in the 70th minute, 70th minute, 75th minute. And they were starting to get more comfortable. They had some nice build-up play, and they can cross the ball. They can definitely cross the ball. 75th minute, Tulsa gets a shot from 30 yards, but safely in the hands for Shuttler. In the 78th, we had the last subs for Tulsa, as they made quite a bit of changes for the second half. And then the 79th minute, we had probably the most important action, one of the most important actions for OC. There was a beautiful tackle from Miles, the center back, when Tulsa was trying to get out after recuperating a clearance from across. And Miles gets a great ovation. Hard to beat celebrating. I mean, you send a great statement that the energy of the crowd was really carrying OC and growing as that final whistle was approaching. It just seemed like from the 70th minute, they got louder and louder. I mean, you heard the drums throughout the course of the game from the County Line Coalition, but the whole stadium, I'm talking not just them, but the whole stadium as well. And when Miles made this challenge, it was like, boom, go time. It was as if they were celebrating a goal. And that's that home field advantage that you want in any situation. So kudos for the OC crowd getting into it, and it helps spurring on their team, especially Miles making that nice crunching challenge, safe challenge being it, when Tulsa was trying to break there. In the 80th minute, we had Shuttler making a nice save. Early crosses, bounces all the way to DeLu, the substitute. His first touch is poor, but allows for Shuttler to shut him down. Pardon the pun, by the way. And then in the 84th minute, we had celebration, a little mini celebration, the 100th appearance for Orlowski. He comes off the field. Kyle Scott came on for the first time this year for OC, so congrats to Orlowski for getting his 100th appearance in the club. Kyle Scott, ironically, had 31 starts and 31 appearances last year. and as well as 13 yellows and 1 red in that time. So quite a nice reputation as getting into it for OC. But he didn't get any yellows or reds this time around. In the 85th minute, Delo gets the ball up the line, but there were so many bodies back. It just seemed like Tulsa was running out the steam. They had trouble getting the ball back. Lamb did some great management, pretty much dribbling in circles and then hooking the ball up the line for Zubak. And Zubak was just there. When the balls were being cleared up in the air, he was on the knee side. He handled it well, taking it up the line or just causing a nuisance. It just seemed like his substitution was essentially for this sort of game management. And then Partida was also doing some nice game management, going down, right, trying to drain the clock. It's annoying. It's annoying to watch as a neutral. But the result at the end of the day is the result. And OC knew this going into, as Tulsa was trying to generate more and then trying just to kill the game out. Almost didn't go to plan for them. In the 94th minute, Nate Worth, the 17-year-old, has the best chance of the game for Tulsa. Pretty much a heart attack for the OC fans. In this one, in the 94th minute, he gets a nice header from the center of the box. That was from Harvey St. Clair's cross. Unfortunately, went high and wide to the left, but a heart-stopping moment. It was a really good opportunity, potential to go in. Best chance of the game for Tulsa coming in the last minute there, and it could have equalized the game even without Goodrum playing. But despite the missed opportunity, I think Wirtz's attempt demonstrated Tulsa's perseverance and potential threat that they could have in future games to play into the last minute, play without their star forward, and still manage to stay into the game until the last minute. And as well as Bailey on color was shouting that out to them as well. Hey, but that was it. 1-0 game for OC. Their all-time wins. I mean, another big record. Yadalowski making his 100th appearance for the team. But you also have Colin Shuttler, the OC goalkeeper, getting the all-time wins and shutout leader record for the club, respectively. OC, man, were masters of defending the 1-0 leads. They denied the spaces. They doubled up for the one-on-ones on the side, so the support player is always there to help defend. Only the second game of the season for Tulsa, but they'll be hoping that Goodrum comes back sooner rather than later. OC, at the moment, sits nicely on top of the Western Conference, tied on points with Sacramento and San Antonio. So, no Goodrum, but Diallo, for me, looked like a really key player for Tulsa. I think he demonstrated his ability to bring power, as well as some precision to his shots, forcing the opposition goalkeepers to make crucial saves, getting Lamb the yellow card as well, so he can dribble too. And I think down the course of the season, he has a chance to create some more promising opportunities for Tulsa. And he's got some aggressiveness. He got some aggression, I should say, with his pressing and trying to win 50-50 balls, some passion. I mean, obviously opting to commit fouls to disrupt opponents' play, part of Tulsa's game plans here. But in any case, all in all, wasn't the most pretty game to watch. The goal from Jafal was definitely the moment of the game and has good potential to receive the goal of the week for match day 4. All right, so we had North Carolina hosting Hartford Athletic. We covered Hartford last week in the matchday spotlight in their 1-0 win against Birmingham Legion. This time around, it was, they scored 1 goal, but it wasn't enough. North Carolina FC getting all 3 points in a 2-1 victory, the first win of the season for North Carolina, being in the USL Championship after winning USL League One last year, as well as this was the first time that Hartford conceded in their campaign of the 2024 season. Not just 1 goal, but 2, one of them being a penalty kick in the 25th minute by Perez. Anderson won the penalty superbly. If you check out the highlights, it really comes across the defender nicely, gets hacked down, sells it well too. And he would also add to the scoring for North Carolina, getting the second goal in the 35th minute. And then it was Jay Chapman in the 72nd to get something back for Hartford Athletic. He was lethal on set pieces. I was really impressed with his set pieces and his service. In the matchday spotlight from last week, he could certainly ping a ball, and this time provided a really difficult one to deal with. One of those where it's on the corner, towards the corner set piece, right? Plays it in, it dips, it drops, bounces, and somehow no one gets touched in it, but it's able to make it to the far post for the goal. Only 1,500 in attendance at Wake Med Soccer Park. Not even 1,500, that was approximately 1,500, but 1,465 people, according to FOTMob there. Hopefully, with these results, they can get some more butts in the seats in North Carolina, especially as the weather gets nicer as we move on to the spring. Things weren't getting nicer, though, for Birmingham Legion. They got creamed, and when I say creamed, I mean creamed. At 5-0, they lose on the road to Louisville City FC, the biggest win of any team in the USL 2024 campaign so far. Morris opening the scoring in the 13th minute, and yet Harris getting the double in the 35th and 66th to Villa in the 73rd, and then you had Sedano in the 82nd. About 8,900 people in attendance at the Lynn Family Stadium. Birmingham obviously struggling, except for the player that we shouted out last week, Nwegbo, the 22-year-old, from Nigeria, doing his share, getting a 7.4 rating from FOTMob, the highest of any Birmingham Legion FC player, completing 75% of his dribbles in that match. So nice momentum for Louisville going into probably the biggest match of the season next Saturday on April 6th when USL goes national on CBS when they host Indy 11. And by the way, that will be our spotlight next week. I'm sure a lot of eyes will be on that game. Excited for that. But Louisville looking dominant. 3 wins for 3 for them. Well, they're taking on Indy 11 next week, and Indy 11 took on Detroit City this time around. On one, you have an Indy team that has taken 4 points from its first 3 games, but had looked on the upswing in terms of its new personnel, meshing with the established starters. Douglas Martinez Jr.'s return from international duty with Honduras, right, adding to the threat there, since a lot of players coming back from international duty for that. So to hopefully stretch Detroit's back line, but on the other hand, you had Detroit showing a vastly improved attack through its consecutive victories to start the season, with Elvis Amo, Maxime Rodriguez, and Ali Kude combining well. One that had tested Indy's defensive unit quite well. That was a little preview from USL Championship.com, but Detroit City FC would get the victory 2-1 on the road to Indy 11, the second loss of the season for Indy 11. Meanwhile, for Detroit, it's 3 wins on the bounce as they are tied on points with Louisville at the top of the Eastern Conference. Goals coming from for Detroit from Ali Kute in the 55th, and then you had Maxi Rodriguez in the 88th, and then it was Guenzati, the Uruguayan, for Indy 11, getting their only game, that coming into the 24th minute. So they opened the scoring, Indy 11, got the first half victory, but in the second half, it was all Detroit getting those 2 goals to secure the 3 points. 2-1 scoreline there for the traveling team, and yes, we have another 2-1 scoreline here for the traveling team, this being Charleston Battery traveling to Miami FC. Gavilanes got the goal of the week for match day 3. He would also get the only goal for match day 4 for Miami, coming in the 9th minute. And then it was Markinich with a quick response there in the 11th for Charleston. And then in the 82nd, it was Myers who took it home, all 3 points for Charleston. And it was also the return, by the way, for the right back, Mark Segbers. The veteran was among Miami's most consistent performers over the season before being transferred to Charleston Battery back in September, helping the club win the Eastern Conference title. So he had the chance to return to Miami FC this time around, albeit playing for the black and yellow of Charleston and getting the 3 points. And then Gavilanes, by the way, getting the opening goal of the game, but also his 3rd of the season. Kudos to him for that. Tempe Rowdies against Rhode Island FC. Rowdies would win this one comfortably, 4-1. All second half goals, ironically. Their first win of the 2024 USL Championship season before a crowd of 6,000 fans at Al Lang Stadium on Saturday night. To sum up what Nicholas Murray from USLChampionship.com said in terms of the takeaways, Rowdies turned the game around with their work rate, starting in the 32nd minute when Manuel Arteaga almost delivered an equalizer just through his sheer hustle. The hosts, they stayed aggressive, started forcing poor touches and passes by their visitors, and then they ended up capitalizing. Both teams playing high defensive line at times, but the rewards from direct play were hard to ignore. The second half, the Rowdies turned the tables and capitalized. After the pressure, their direct play caused crucial mistakes in Rhode Island's back line. Rhode Island otherwise looked like a solid proposition in the first 2 games of its club history, but Tampa Bay's momentum seemed to just overwhelm the visitors on the Saturday night after their promising start. Dickwa getting the goal for them in the 16th minute, his third of the season. Goals from Ortega, Jennings, and Doherty plus Rivera in the 90th minute plus 6. All goals in the second half for Tampa Bay Rowdies. Rhode Island, they weren't able to find the level of attacking penetration it produced early, but, that being against New Mexico, right? Monterey Bay. They'll return home next week anyway, but the tasks don't get easier because it'll be a Charleston Battery visit for them. So we'll see what happens there. Dickwa getting the third of the season, but Rhode Island FC still 3 games in, and it's not like you haven't been scoring goals. You just gotta tighten the things up defensively. But hey, when you come in front of your home crowd against Charleston, very interesting to see what happens next week for them. San Antonio hosting Monterey Bay FC, and it'll be the hosts getting 3 points. San Antonio with 2-1 victory. This is from M. Hobbs on SanAntonioFC.com. So they capped off, San Antonio FC capped off an undefeated month with its second consecutive win this past Saturday at Toyota Field. After scoring 2 goals in the final 15 minutes of play last match, San Antonio wasted no time finding the score sheet. This time around, following an initial service from Jorge Hernandez, several heads got a touch on the ball before Carter Manley finished the chance with a nifty bicycle kick for the opening goal in the 7th minute. Monterey Bay was able to equalize just before the half thanks to a set-piece opportunity in stoppage time scored by Fair, and then San Antonio grabbed the lead back in the 86th minute in the dying stages of the game when Kevin Lambert was able to tap in a redirected header from Mitchell Tainter to put SAFC up for 3 points and a 2-1 win. So that's San Antonio FC moving to 202 on the season with 8 points, tied on points atop the Western Conference standings. And they remain undefeated against Monterey Bay, now leading the all-time series 4-0-1. And in 5 meetings, San Antonio FC have outscored Monterey Bay Union 13-4. Speaking of outscoring, Las Vegas Lights would outscore Oakland Roots on the road with a surprising, we can say maybe even shocking 3-0 victory. The Roots should have been closer to their regular selves this week. They had returners. Hackshaw came back from Trinidad on international duty. You had Donaciano from Burundi, and then defender Brian Tamakas, who was representing El Salvador from international duty. So, they all had three players had important roles to play in Oakland's season opening victory against Indy 11, if you recall, with Tamakas providing the winner. But in any case, it was Las Vegas instead taking it all in front of the approximately 3,000 who attended at Pioneer Stadium. 3 takeaways by Trey Higdon on LasVegasLightsFC.com. One being the second half onslaught. Vegas flexed its attacking muscle in the second half, scoring all 3 of its goals within the first 21 minutes after halftime. Samake and Noel, especially, each shine with a goal and an assist apiece. Gannon, he opens his account for the second takeaway. After a promising opening month to his Vegas career, Gannon was rewarded for his efforts with his first goal. The talented 21-year-old Atlanta native has provided a huge spark in the Lights' attacking midfield. And then you have the third one, back-to-back wins. That's the third takeaway. After just 3 wins last season, Las Vegas has 2 victories in the trot and 2 within its first 4 matches to start the Dennis Sanchez era. The Lights have also earned consecutive clean sheets while limiting any real clear-cut opportunities. And that clean sheet came against El Paso last time around and now against Oakland. Kudos to Las Vegas Lights FC, bringing the Lights to Oakland Roots and lighting up their end by scoring 3 goals all in the second half, similar to Tampa Bay scoring all their 4 goals in the second half. So a lot of goals and a lot of points, and no points being shared, right? All wins or losses for these teams in this match day 4. 2 more to cover, 2 more left. And we go to Sacramento Republic taking on Memphis 901 FC. It is Ricketts in the 87th being the only goal to decide it for Sacramento Republic FC. They get a 1-0 victory. It was late heroics on a set-piece opportunity. It was a substitute, as I mentioned, Ricketts to challenge from close range and put the winner And in the 87th minute, Trevor Amon, he won a foul in the attacking third, allowing Rodrigo Lopez to serve in a nice dangerous ball from the set piece. And then Rickes put the ball over the line following a save by the goalkeeper for the game's only score. And his first goal as a member of Republic FC, that came from Emil Guzman for SacramentoRepublicFC.com. Then we had one of the most probably interesting fixtures as well. Phoenix Rising taking on New Mexico United. Phoenix Rising hosting New Mexico. This was the last of their back-to-back-to-back away games, New Mexico. And it was going to be interesting to see what happens in this one. This one from Nicholas Murray of USL Championship.com in his preview talking about, you had Phoenix coming off its first win of the season, right? They achieved that in solid fashion against Oakland Roots. But this might have been just the game for New Mexico to get back on track. And New Mexico United looked a step slow against Charleston when they lost 4-0 last week. Recorded only 9 touches in the battery penalty area compared to 38 for the hosts at Patriot points. And they needed to regain the tempo it showed against Pittsburgh to start the season when they hosted them for the opening match of the 2024 USL campaign. So, hey, Phoenix Rising, New Mexico United, they clashed again. This time it was quite feisty. Following their win over Oakland, Rising looked to improve to another win. But United, they stood in their way. The last time these two met ended in a 2-1 with a victory for United. And right off the opening whistle, United decided to attack and put some heavy pressure on Rising. But Phoenix made their chances of their own. But this didn't stop United. After consistent pressure and a counterattack, it was United's Dayton Harris who scored the opener. It seemed as if both teams were waiting for the other to pounce, as each heavy collision heightened the tension. 5 minutes were added in the first half alone, with 3 yellow cards in the first half, one of which going towards Phoenix Rising, 2 for United. But hey, United started the match strong. Phoenix did not adjust well. Or I should say they adjusted well, but at that point came the halftime whistle. In the 58th minute, Rising fans were dismayed when defender Papa Boye conceded a penalty after a handball in the box, but it was the goalkeeper Rocco Rios Novo saving Greg Hurst's penalty kick, keeping Rising's hopes alive, and both teams continued to fight for a goal. Phoenix to tie it, and United to put it to the death, but Rising showed a lot of fire, got 4 yellow cards in the process, and in the end, 12 minutes, by the way, were added to stoppage time, as the Rising and United players exchanged words, and it got more heated after some questionable calls and a possible diving incident. And in the 99th minute, that tension boiled over. There was a scrap between Rising and United players that began near both benches and the fourth officials. Players from both teams rushed to break it up, but it was clear that the words had been exchanged. Phoenix made chance after chance to try to tie the game, but hey, was not enough. New Mexico going to take all 3 points home with them with the 1-0 victory. That was a little bit of a summary from Thomas Bonvehi of anyvalleynews.org, writing for Phoenix Rising. That was it. Those were all the fixtures for match day 4. We can take a look at the standings, by the way. So on top of the Eastern Conference with back-to-back wins, we have Louisville City FC 9 points, as well as Detroit City FC with 9 points. Charleston Battery, if you recall, hey, they started their season with a 0-0 draw to North Carolina, but they have not lost a game yet. A draw afterwards with Oakland Roots, and then back-to-back wins. Charleston Battery winning 4-0 against New Mexico United, and they beat Miami FC on the road. So they are sitting third place with 8 points. Right behind them, though, is Hartford Athletic with 6. Then you have Tampa and North Carolina, both on 5 points. 3 teams on 4 points, that being Loudoun United FC, who had a bye this week. Miami FC after 4 games with 4 points. Indy 11 after 4 games, 4 points. And then on the bottom of the Eastern Conference, 10th, 11th, and 12th, you have 3 points, Birmingham Legion FC. Right behind them, 2 points, Rhode Island FC. And then sitting at the bottom, Pittsburgh Riverhounds Soccer Club. They also had a bye this week in addition to Loudoun United FC. And then we'll work our way probably from bottom to top for Western Conference. So sitting at the bottom of the Western Conference, Colorado Springs Switchbacks. They had a bye this week as well. 3 losses from their opening 3. El Paso right above them with only 1 point. They've played already 4 games. El Paso also had a bye this week. Phoenix Rising sitting 10th, 3 points from 4 games, only above El Paso in the Western Conference as well as Colorado. And they're still even below, or should say tied on points with FC Tulsa. But remember, Tulsa only had 2 games played. And also you have Memphis being tied with 3 points as well. But Memphis has 3 games played. So 3 from 3 for Memphis, 3 from 2 for Tulsa, and then you have 3 from 4 for Phoenix Rising. So even if they're tied on points with Tulsa and Memphis, they've played the most out of those 3 teams. Oakland Roots are sitting mid-table with 4 points. At 7th place, at 6th place, mid-table is Monterey Bay. Las Vegas Lights sits ahead of them with 6 points. Bay has the Union have 5 points. And then top 4 here for the Western Conference. In 4th place, New Mexico United, following their victory against Phoenix Rising on the road. They'll play El Paso in what's going to be a very important game for El Paso coming up. So they're 4th place with 7 points, and then you have 3 tied for the top spot, with Orange County being one of them, Sacramento Republic being one of them, and then also San Antonio being one of them as well. And yeah, that's really how it's looking. In terms of the top scorers, you have Wilson Harris, who got the double this past match day for Louisville against Birmingham. He's sitting at the top scorers chart with 4 goals. Diqua with 3 goals. Gavilanes as well with 3 goals. Top assists going to Jorge Hernandez with 3 assists so far. That's how things are looking at the table. If we preview next week, by the way, let's take a look at what we have in store. Obviously, the big one being Louisville City FC taking on Indy 11 FC. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That game's going to be on CBS, so make sure to set your DVRs to record it if you're not going to be able to watch it. But also, definitely something you want to check out since it's going to be nationally covered. But prior to that Saturday, we do have a Friday night fixture. It'll be FC Tulsa hosting Phoenix Rising FC on Friday, April 5th, that being at 8:30 Eastern in the nighttime, and then also 5:30 Pacific there. Then we have in the slot for 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for Saturday, opening things up. You have Detroit hosting North Carolina FC, and then you also have Hartford hosting Miami FC. Saturday, at that 4 p.m. slot that Louisville will host Indy 11, you also have Memphis hosting Orange County Soccer Club there. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Pittsburgh Riverhounds had a bye, and this time they're going to host Tampa Bay Rowdies. That's going to be on Saturday, April 6th, taking place at 7 p.m., 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, that being. Rhode Island will then go back home, hosting Charleston Battery. That's going to take place at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And then you have Colorado Springs Switchbacks. After their bye, they're going to host Western Conference leaders, Sacramento Republic FC, albeit tied with a couple of the other teams. But tough game for Colorado coming up. At least they're home. At least they had some time to prepare. That's going to take place at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 Pacific. Then you have that Derby in New Mexico. New Mexico taking on El Paso Locomotive FC. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that'll be at 6 Pacific on Saturday. And then at Saturday, we have some night fixtures as well, this both being in the 10 o'clock hour for the Eastern side. So kicking things off in the 10 o'clock hour, we have Oakland Roots hosting Monterey Bay FC, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. We'll have Las Vegas Lights hosting Western Conference leaders, San Antonio FC. And then to cap things off, Sunday, the only game taking place on Sunday, Birmingham Legion FC, after getting spanked 5-0 by Louisville, will take on Loudoun United FC after their bye week. And that's going to take place at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. That'll be on Sunday, April 7th. The only game on Sunday. Majority of the games taking place on Saturday, as usually. As Saturday are not for the boys, they are for USL Championship. Hey man, this was a fun episode. It was fun to recap match day 4. We had some clear winners, we had some clear losers, no draws. It was You don't get more American than that, right? You want to talk about the NBA, you want to talk about the NFL, you want to talk about the NHL. Yeah, at least we have wins and losses. Slow your horses there. We also have wins and losses in soccer as well. Just take a look at match day 4 from USL, right? Anyway, I always welcome feedback. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Please let me know your thoughts on the show and the structure. You can reach out to me at any point on my direct messages. That's at TalkUSL across all social platforms. If you want to send me an email, by the way, just write me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. I would love to hear what you're enjoying. What do you want to see more of? Your listening habits. Are you listening on the way to work? Are you listening while cooking? While walking the dog? While walking the cat? No, you don't walk your cats. But do you get what I mean? Let me know. Write me an email. Thanks for listening, by the way. Talk USL is everywhere podcasts are available. They can be found on all social media platforms with the handle at TalkUSL. If you want to support the podcast, make sure to give a review on whatever platform you are listening, and make sure to tell your fellow friends, family, and most importantly, your fellow USL fans to give it a listen. I'd really appreciate it. This has been All Talk, All USL, Talk USL, covering the latest scores, news, and developments in the USL Championship. Talk soon, everybody. Bye for now.